Hey guys, it is Wingy here. I am back, and today I'm going to be doing a classic season ranking. Now, in this thing that I've got here, it does include the modern era, but I'm going to ignore that, and I'll probably do that in a separate video. But then again, I think I've already done that, haven't I? I might do an updated one. Either way, I don't think I've done the classic series. That's what I'm doing today. So, obviously this is just my opinion. If you happen to disagree, cool. But it is what it is. So, let's get started. Now, it doesn't appear to be in chronological order. So we're starting off here with season 18, which of course is the first season in the 80s, or the first full season in the 80s, and it is of course Tom Baker's last season. I personally think that this is great. I love season 18. Stories like Legopolis, stories like Meglos even. The Leisure Hive can fuck off. Keeper of Draken's great. E-Space Trilogy is pretty good as well. So yeah, I think this is a great season of Doctor Who. It was a nice breath of fresh air. So moving on, we shall go to... That's modern series one. Oh, it's another Tom season, which is season 14. Now, those of you who know me, or especially if you follow me on Twitter, you will know that my favourite ever Doctor Who story is The Hand of Fear, which of course is in season 14. Again, I think this is a great season of Doctor Who. You've got not just The Hand of Fear, but you've also got stuff like The Deadly Assassin. You've got stuff like The Face of Evil. Stories like that, which I personally, and Robots of Death. Stories that I personally really enjoy. The Mask of Mandragora, probably the weak point. Talons of Weng-Chiang as well, another great story. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. Season 26, which again is the last season of the classic era, also the last season featuring Sylvester McCoy. For me personally, this is going to be slightly controversial. I'm going to say that this is just good. I'm not massive on Sylvester McCoy's era. I love his Doctor, but for me there's something about his stories and his era that they just don't feel like they're complete. It feels like there's certain parts of his stories that are missing and that they didn't fully explore properly, or they've taken bits out. I don't know, but either way, it's a good season of Doctor Who. I don't think it's the pinnacle that some people think it is, but it's still enjoyable. So now we'll move on to season 9, which is a Pertwee season, slap bang in the middle of his era. I'm going to say that this is okay. And the only reason why I'm saying okay and not putting it any lower is because the Sea Devils, I believe, is in this season. Is the Sea Devils in this season? Let me have a look. For me, Day of the Daleks has gone up in my estimations. I love the Sea Devils, but I can't stand the Curse of Peladon. I can't stand the Time Monster. And what's the other story? The Mutants? That's fine, I guess. It's fine. It's not a vintage classic season, in my personal opinion. I know people won't agree with that, but it is what it is. Now we're moving on to season 4. Now this is interesting because with the 60s stuff, it's going to be a little bit difficult for me personally, in the sense that some of the stories don't exist. Now obviously we do have animations for certain seasons, but some of them we don't. So I feel it would be a little bit unfair to sort of give a definitive answer. So I'm only really going to rank them based on the stories that either exist, or they have animations, or there's enough surviving where it's like you can kind of get away with it. So with season 4, I do like the 10th Planet. I love Power of the Daleks, but I'm just going to go with good for now. Just going to go with good. I think there's some good stuff there, but I wouldn't say it's great and I wouldn't say it's bad. That's what I'm sticking with. Aha, more Tom, season 12. This is going into the greatest straight away, because this for me is arguably the best ever season of Doctor Who. I think there isn't a weak link story. You could argue Revenge of the Cybermen, but it does have its merits. I really enjoy season 12. You know, it's got stuff like The Ark in Space and Genesis, which are two of the greatest Doctor Who stories to have ever been made. I love Robot, I love the Sontaran Experiment, and I do quite like Revenge of the Cybermen. So for me, it's the greatest. And now we move on to Peter Davison's first season, which is season 19. Now for me, this is gonna go... I don't know where to put this. I really don't know where to put this. I'm gonna go with good. The reason why it's good is, yes, Time Flight's in it, but Earthshock is in it. The Visitation I really enjoy. There's a few other stories in there that I'm not massive on stuff like Castrovalva. I'm not massive on Castrovalva, but for me, yeah, I think it's a good season of Doctor Who. It's not spectacular, but it's pretty good. Season 6, now this, I think this is great. I love a lot of season 6. Stories like the invasion and the war games alone would put this in great, and then you've got some of the other stuff in there as well that I really enjoy. Is it Troughton's best season? Maybe. I could argue 5, but for me, because I have such nostalgia for stories such as the invasion, yeah, this is a great season of Doctor Who. It does have a couple of duds, don't get me wrong, but even the lesser stories in this season, I somewhat enjoy. So yeah, I'm comfortable with leaving it in great for now. Then we go on to season 1, and I'm gonna go. Oh, you see, this is. I'm not sure with this one. I'm torn between okay and good, because the problem is this is like the early origins of Doctor Who. Is it okay? Is it good? Is it okay? Is it good? I'm gonna go with good, and the only reason why I'm gonna go with good is because whilst a lot of the stories in here don't really do it for me, I think seeing the early days of Doctor Who, seeing the very first appearances of the Doctor himself, obviously, the TARDIS, time travel, the Daleks, of course, make an appearance in this season. There is some good stories in here, but I do feel that it isn't well, it obviously isn't a great season because I've not put it in great, but I don't know, it could have gone into okay. It's like a very low good sort of season for me. Speaking of a season that isn't good, is season 16. Which of course is the Key to Time season, and for me this is Tom's worst season. I don't think it's awful, but it's bad. I think this is a bad season. I like half of it, but I don't love any of it. I think the only story that I could lean towards saying that I genuinely really like and possibly love is the Pirate Planet, which is fantastic. I love Mary Tam. I like the story arc. I think it ends in a bit of a crappy way, but for me this just is a very vanilla season of Doctor Who. The stories overall don't do it for me. I mean, there's a story in here with a massive fucking octopus squid monster and they made it dull. I don't understand how they did that, so missed opportunity for me. Season 17, the following season. We're getting through the Tom seasons pretty quick actually. So this again is not an overall great season, but it is better than season 16, and I'm going to say that it's okay, and it should be higher because some of the caliber of stories in this season I think are genuinely awesome. You look at City of Death, you look at Sharda. I personally have a soft spot for Nightmare of Eden. Those stories by themselves in maybe any other season would mean that this one would be good, but you've also got stuff like the Horns of Nimon and Destiny of the Daleks, and the what's it called now? The Creature from the Pit, that just, they're terrible stories. So the fact that it's in okay it's pretty good. It's probably like City of Death and Sharda that are properly propping this season up at the minute. So what have we got next? Season 15. I think this is a good season. I'm going to go straight away and say it. I really like season 15. I know a lot of people don't. I think it has got a bit of a weird transitional feel, but when it's got stuff like the Sunmakers and of course Horror of Fang Rock, these are great stories. I also personally have a soft spot for the Invasion of Time, and I really, really like Image of the Fendal. I think Underworld is atrocious, but yeah, this I think is a solid, good season of Doctor Who. So there we go, it's going in good. Season 23, which is of course The Trial of a Time Lord. This is bad. I'm sorry to say, this is bad. This is such a wasted potential story. It has its moments. I love Colin throughout the entire season. I love the idea of the Valiard, but there's just something about the execution that feels like I'm just watching something. I'm not invested in it. I'm just sort of like, yep, this has all the check marks, if you will, of Doctor Who, but it doesn't do it for me like other Doctor Who would. Like I say, it has its moments. It has some memorable performance, particularly from someone like Brian Blessed, and Michael Jason, of course, as the Valiard, but it's not for me, this. I think it's a bad season of Doctor Who. So moving on next, season 13. Is that all of Tom's out of the way now, pretty much? I think it is. And of course, season 13 is also going in the greatest. Now, I did tempt myself thinking like, oh well, I can't really put 2 in the greatest, but season 13 is every bit as good as season 12. Arguably better. You know, you can pick and choose either one of these, and it's just a great season. It really is. I mean, you got Zygons in there, you got the Seeds of Doom in there, or is it the Seeds of Death? No, it's the Seeds of Doom. I always get that mixed up. Does anyone else have that problem? Pyramids of Mars is in here, which is, to be fair, not as good as people make out, but it is a very good story. I love the android invasion as well, so yeah, for me this is a genuinely top tier Doctor Who. I don't think there's a flat out shit story in this season, so that's why it's there. So going back to the black and white days, which is season 5 now, straight away I'm seeing stuff like Tomb of the Cybermen, I'm seeing stuff like the Ice Warriors, which I personally really like, and I'm seeing stuff such as, what is that? I can't remember the name of it. Oh, what's it called? Where Enemy of the World. Yeah, this is a great season. I really like season 5. I didn't actually think that I would put that this high. I honestly thought that I would have this in good, but those stories are genuinely great Doctor Who. Again, it's not perfect. It does have its quote-unquote lesser stories, but I really enjoy it, and I love Patrick Troughton. So yeah, it couldn't be any lower than that, to be totally honest. Now moving on, season 11, which of course is not only the final season with Jon Pertwee, but it is the debut of Sarah Jane Smith, who is my favourite companion, who weirdly I didn't actually mention in season 12, 13 or 14, but there you go. Season 11 is okay. It has its moments. I love stuff like the Time Warrior, which is pretty good. I do enjoy Planet of the Spiders for what it is, but it has got the Monster of Peladon, and Death to the Daleks I think is underrated, but not enough to the point where I'm like, oh, it's a really good story. It's more of a guilty pleasure, I would say, mainly because I love that design of Dalek, but it's an okay season. It's not Pertwee's best by any stretch of the imagination. It's just okay for me personally. So back to the McCoy era, season 25. Now this is a great season. This is for me better than season 26. I know not everyone will agree, but I think I like every story. Oh no, Silver Nemesis is in here, isn't it? Okay, I like 3/4 of this season. I like all but one story. That's a better way to frame it. I really like the Happiness Patrol, I really like Remembrance of the Daleks, and I really like Great Show in the Galaxy. It's a great season. It would have been better if Silver Nemesis wasn't there. Again, I still think it has those problems where, apart from Remembrance of the Daleks, which for me is the only, how do I word it? The only story that doesn't feel like bits were taken out and you feel a little bit lost. Whereas something like the Happiness Patrol as an example, I'm like, I feel like I've missed a bit here. How did that character get there? Or who is this person in general? But yeah, no, for me, I really love this. I think this is McCoy's best season, hands down. Oh my God. Season 20, this is it okay or is it bad? I think it's bad. I think it's bad, you know. I do have a soft spot for some of the stories, but I don't like the Black and White Guardian trilogy. I don't particularly like Arc of Infinity, although I do somewhat have a soft spot for it. I think it's fine. The 5 Doctors, I don't think is that good, if I'm being totally brutally honest. I don't like the fact that we're fannying around with Tegan, bringing her back when she's just left. Snake Dance, I think, arguably is better than Kinder. I forgot Kinder was in season 19 actually. Yeah, that's another great one, which is why it's good. I just think it's bad. I don't want to revisit this season all that much, and for me, I keep saying it in my videos, like, rewatchability is a huge factor for me. And I've got to say, I don't feel like rewatching this anytime soon. So, it's bad, unfortunately. Season 8. Now I'm going to go with good for season 8 because I think every story has its merits. I think every story is genuinely good. The only frustrating thing is, I don't like the fact that the Master is in every story. I know that some people say like, oh, but surely you want to see more Roger Delgado. Yes, you do. But he doesn't need to be in every story. It's almost comical how when you're watching chronologically, it's like, when's the Master showing up? Oh, there he is. I don't really like that they did that. But that's not to say that this doesn't have some genuinely good stories, because it does. I really like Terror of the Autons. I really like Claws of Axos. I really like the Demons. So yeah, it's a good season of Doctor Who, but I wouldn't say that it's great. Season 22. Well, this is great. And again, some people are going to be like, what the fuck? How have you put that ahead of some of these that are here? I love season 22. I love the darkness of it. I love the brutality of it. I love how this is really Doctor Who pushing itself to the limits in terms of what it can and can't get away with. I love the violent aspect in this. I love stories like Vengeance on Varos, The Two Doctors, Attack of the Cybermen. I think Mark of the Rani, decent but not great, and also Time Lash is appalling. But overall, I've got to say, season 22 is a great season and a very, very, very underrated season of Doctor Who, and I wish more people would sort of look at it the way that I see it, because I think it is up there. Well, quite literally, it's in the third column. Season 7. Season 7 is a season of Doctor Who that seemingly is regarded as one of the best, right? I'll be honest with you, I don't love it as much as some other people seem to. I think it's great, but I don't think it's any higher than that. I'm not that big on Inferno, if I'm honest. Once it gets started with the parallel world stuff, then it gets good, but that sort of takes a while. I think Spearhead from Space is incredible. I love the Silurians, and I really, really have a soft spot for the Ambassadors of Death. But I just think it's great. I don't think it's fantastic. I don't think it's some of the best we've ever seen. That's just how I feel. I love Jon Pertwee, and I love how he steps into the Doctor, and you know how he is in his first season, and I love Liz. I think she's great, but for me, that's as high as it can go, I've got to say. So, season 24, it's awful. There isn't a good story in there. Do I need to say more? Like, it's genuinely the worst season of Doctor Who, in my humble opinion. Season 10. Now, this is fantastic. I love season 10. I think this is Pertwee's best season by a country mile. I like every story. I just think it's great. This is my comfort season for the Pertwee era. The Three Doctors is the best multi-Doctor story, in my opinion. I love something like the Carnival of Monsters even. Like, I genuinely do. So, for me, yeah, I enjoy every story. I mean, the Green Death as well, it's just fantastic. So, there you go, fantastic. Season 21 is also going in fantastic. This is Davison's best season, and I think the reason why I like this as much as I do is, one, because I really like Peter Davison. I am aware that Warriors of the Deep is in this season, but I think every other story, or is there another one? I'm pretty sure there's another one that I don't really like. I can't think what it is. But either way, Resurrection of the Daleks, brutal, fucking love it. Caves of Androzani, amazing. Frontios, underrated story. Like, this has some genuinely great underrated Doctor Who that I feel like not enough people appreciate. And again, this is probably my, weirdly, because it's so brutal in places, it's my comfort season for Peter Davison. Like, this is the one that I will always revisit. The Awakening, that's an underrated story, little two-part story, brilliant. So there you go. And we only have 2 left, it would seem, of the classic era at least. I'm well aware that the modern series is all here. So season 2 and season 3, both William Hartnell. Now we'll start off with season 3. I can't really, oh, the War Machines. Okay, so the War Machines is in season 3. I sometimes get mixed up with what's in which season. This is good. I think season 3 is good. I think it has its moments. It's not perfect though, and I think with season 2, I think I'm gonna go with good as well, because Dalek Invasion of Earth is swaying me a little bit there. It is definitely swaying me, but like I said before, it's hard to say with some of the classic era stuff because not all of it is there, which is a shame. Maybe it'd be lower if the stories properly existed, or maybe it'd be higher, I don't know. But as it stands, I'm just going to go with good, because what I've seen, it is good. The Hartnell era is by no means my favourite era, but in fact he's my least favourite Doctor, but I do like the stories and I think they're good. I think, you know, just sort of middle of the road sort of thing. So there you go. This is my list. This is my ranking of the classic era. This is, I mean, if I did this next week, this would probably change. So this isn't like definitive, like this is what I'm feeling right now. Well, no, it is what I'm feeling right now, but you know, this could change. So yeah, in the comments below, let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with my choices? You probably won't, but let me know what you would do. I'll probably leave a link to this tier list in the description as well, so you can let me know and send me yours as well. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe for more. Social media and Patreon links will be in the description as always. So if you would follow me on any of those things, I'd absolutely love you forever. But till next time guys, you take care of yourselves. Goodbye.